Hello again everyone, and welcome to this our second tutorial in our delay tactics feature, where we examine how you can use delay to thicken up some of the textures in your productions. In this second tutorial, we're going to be looking at how to apply delays to guitars, or at least guitar-like figures. We're going to be working with a backbeat which is sort of reggae orientated, however don't be put off by that if that's not your style. The methods that we use here can be applied to any other forms of music production that might involve guitar-like timbres. So the first thing to do is bring up whatever sound that is that you want to be working with. Now this could be audio that you've played in if you're lucky enough to be a guitarist. I'm not a guitarist myself, so I have to rely on software to get me through the day, and I'm going to be using UJam's Sparkle Virtual Guitarist software, which just kind of does the job that I need it to. So we've got a little line here which sounds like this. Very basic ideal, and we've just got some nice chords that we're playing on beats 2 and 4 of every single bar. Now you might have also noticed that we're using Guitar Rig here. Guitar Rig is a great piece of software for adding effects to any guitar signal. You'll be surprised how you can take any sound, pop it through some sort of amp simulators, and bearing in mind there are amp simulators in most software and DAWs these days, so don't be afraid to plug one of those in and you might be really surprised how much like a guitar it can sound. So coming back to the subject at hand, which is to do with delays, we're going to use one of our very own delays on this particular track. So we have loaded up and ready to go the PSP AudioWare computer music delay. Now this little delay is really useful for sounding a little bit vintage like a Wem copycat. Now that's a particular guitarist's favourite, which is why we're choosing to use it here. It's got some very useful and applicable controls on it. The first one of which we're going to use is the sync switch. You'll see that what happens when we flick this switch, we move from a timing which is in milliseconds. When we click on it, it moves over to note values. So that means it's locking right in with the DAW and it makes it a little bit easier to use. The note value that you might choose to use is related to the music that you might be writing. Now with this kind of style that we've got here, we're going to be working with a 12th note delay. So we just click and hold on the delay time pot, drag that around until we get 12th note, and that gives it a sort of a triplety quaver feel. That's that kind of laid back reggae groove feel. But you can use anything. If you're in a more rock pocket, you might want to use something like an 8th note or a 16th note. So when we play our guitar line now, it sounds like this. So it's basic but nonetheless effective, but we can do a little bit more to make it even better. So we're going to use the element on the delay which is called ping pong. Now this is when the delay literally ping pongs from the left hand side to the right hand side and back again. It was a popular effect on guitars and also with a Fender Rhodes piano back in the day. So in order to activate this, we go to the delay section on the plugin where it says ping pong, unsurprisingly, and we click and hold on that pot and drag it to the left hand side. We also want to increase the feedback level, so the FB pot, FB for feedback, we want to change that so that underneath it, it reads a value of around about 60. This is going to be quite a generous delay, but you'll see why in a moment. Because we don't want the delay to get in the way of our actual sound, we're now going to make some adjustments to the wet and dry mix. So we're going to take the dry control and change that to 2.0, and then we're going to back off the wet control so it goes all the way down to -12. This means we'll have the effect of hearing the initial strike of each chord, but then the delay will just kind of move into the background, so it'll be there, but it won't get in the way. So this now means that we've got a delay sound like this. And you can hear it's not terribly obtrusive. Now, another thing that's worth mentioning is if you are working in different styles, and particularly if you're trying to emulate that kind of 60s guitar sound, you might want to reduce the delay time even further. And you'll find that if you take this up to something like a 30-second note delay, you can get some really interesting tight sounds. And in doing so, you might need to increase the feedback level so that you can hear that even more. That's that classic sort of 60s thickening texture. So that's our very own computer music PSP delay. Do go ahead and play around with that one. It's really cool.